Giải đề thi Speaking tháng 7, chủ đề Time cùng 8 IELTS.
Xem hết video để ôn tập cùng mình nhé.
Part 2. Describe a situation, time when you were late.
Alright, cool. So this incident is actually not something I am particularly proud of. I'm gonna say it's already happened like a month ago or something like that, and it has to do with the show called IFO. You probably have already heard of it. Yeah, so before the show was actually aired, we had a bunch of training sessions with the producer. So yeah, on this one Saturday of June or May or something like that, he kind of asked people to arrive at his house at like 10 a.m. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, because well, even though I'm not a morning person, I definitely could do something to manage that. On that day, I woke up at 8 a.m. and then I did my morning routine stuff. It was really smoothly, nothing wrong happened there. 9 a.m. I started to go to his house. As I finished a third of the distance, that is where the disaster started. It rained, and I was wearing a white t-shirt on that day, which is definitely not really good, right? You don't want to, I didn't want to look dirty when I arrived at his house. So what I did next was I pulled over the raincoat and I put it on, and then things started to accelerate it in a very negative way. I got really I don't know why, but the raincoat seems to me like it was designed in a way that's going to restrict a lot of body movements, which made it real inconvenient for me to kind of move around. I did things really flimsily. I remember that I kind of dropped my bag as well as my equipment a couple of times along the way. It was raining and I needed to pick it back up. I was so pissed off. That was so irritating, but then I couldn't do anything about it. I remember when I almost got there, I pretty much cried out loud for how pitiful it could have been for me. But then come rain or shine, I needed to arrive at his house anyway. And I was like 15 minutes off or something like that. Yeah, so I arrived there at 10:15. Well, it actually was not that big of a deal because, well, the producer actually kind of predicted that, my tardiness and stuff like that. And the camera did not roll until 10:30, so no harm was done. But, that was a time when I was, pretty much late to something in a sense.
What are some reasons people could be late for a schedule or a meeting in your country?
Yeah, that's actually quite, a relatable question because I came up with a lot of excuses for them. I'm not a really punctual person, I would say. Well, there are a couple of reasons people kind of frequently give, but the most commonly used one probably is the traffic jam. So I mean, from a more objective perspective, that is actually very understandable. Vietnam is a developing country, and our traffic infrastructure is actually not that high quality. There's so many narrow roads, and there are also others with they're not asphalt roads. They are concrete roads, if I'm not mistaken, which is actually very hard to go on. So because of that reason, accidents actually are quite frequent. And it's just not about accidents. There's also jams and certain traffic effects, some of which I do not want to explain or talk further about anymore here. But to wrap things up a little bit over here, the roads are not in their best condition in order to facilitate such a huge volume of commuters. And yeah, and especially during rush hours, this more true than ever. People are held up in the traffic and they cannot arrive at their destination on time. And yeah, again, that's definitely one of the most commonly used excuse when we arrive late.
Why do some people find it hard to follow their plans?
Find hard to follow their plans? Plenty of them. There are plenty of reasons, but the most, probably the biggest one, the thing that attributes the most probably is going to be discipline, or actually a lack thereof. Because, well, I will say this, man plans and God laughs, right? I feel like all the plans, even with the best visualization, even with the best visionary, with the best ability to kind of visualize everything, there are still hidden there are still hidden obstacles that pretty much are very unwelcome and unexpected that they cannot foresee. And because of that reason, the plan is somehow delayed for a certain amount of time. Now, a person with discipline definitely is going to find a way through. They are going to try different strategies, very continuously. Like they try different strategies in a very willing way. Like they would not back down. Whereas for other people, that they look at the signs, they'd be like, God must be, not wanting me to kind of do this. Let's just stop. Kind of. It's in a more serious voice, I feel like discipline is it has a lot to do with the mindset, right? So people who actually can follow through with their plans, they are the one with very strong mindset and a very strong willingness in order to carry out their plan. And the vice versa is also true. Those who do not have suitable mindset is going to back down when when things happen not according to the plan.
Is it important for children to learn to manage time?
Yeah, I think so. Time has, that is not something quoted, it's something I kind of came up for my own, but time is definitely number one enemy of plans. Like, especially the shortage of time, right? How we all have to cram for our plans. But let's just say that in today's world, there's so many plans devised and so many things that people have to work according to. And managing time is pretty much like essential. It's an essential skill set that people should have. Now, the older that we get, I feel like a more tardy mindset we kind of have. And more importantly, if you miss too many deadlines, or if you're used to being late in the past, then chances are that you will find people will find it actually acceptable to be so, or to do so in future circumstances. And they thought to themselves like, they definitely can pay off these circumstances. So why do they have to push themselves to the point where they have to cram for the timeline? And yeah, so it's all about the mindset. It's all about a habit of not being late or being late at the same time. So why is it so important for children to learn? Because they are like white blank sheets of paper. They don't have that mindset. And again, I cannot emphasize enough that, how disastrous that mindset can be to a person's performance, not only at school, but also at work and stuff like that. So children, again, are blank sheets of paper. It's very easy for us to kind of instill into them a sense of responsibility with time, not just their time, but also other people's time. That they will learn how to, it's very responsible of them to attend a meeting on time or to meet with people at the right destination at the right time. So yeah, they are not subjected to any sorts of complacency, of negative complacency, as I have already stated before, for those who had the mindset of being okay with being late. So yeah, very important for children to learn how to manage time when they're still young, when they're not affected by those negatives. And yeah, that's it.